Welcome back to the Nige-Rider garage. Now, in a recent episode I showed you one of these, which is to shrink the shrink wrap on, or the heat shrinks for when you're soldering. And I got a comment on there from Roy Dean saying that he'd like to actually see two wires soldered together. So my niece has thankfully cut through this. So on this video we're going to solder this together. Before we go any further, don't forget, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Leave any comments in the comment section below. Now, to do this video, I've decided to break out. In fact, I got a new kit. I needed a new kit, so I got a new kit. So this is a soldering kit. In here, this is a soldering iron, okay, and that is a soldering gun. That's an instant heat soldering gun. That's soldering iron. The difference is you have to plug this in and wait for it to heat up, whereas with this you pull the trigger and it's pretty much instantaneous. But for the purpose of this video I am going to use the soldering iron. Now the other thing you obviously need is some wire cutters, which I've got here, some heat shrink, which I've got here, obviously my lovely little torch. I'm going to use this, which I'm going to use to hold the wires together with, and then I'm also going to use, obviously, some solder. Now, there's a difference here. This solder actually has flux on the inside of it, and basically, that is what this is. That's flux. Now, flux is used to aid the bonding together of the two wires. It's to aid the flow of the solder, so it creates a nice bond. So, let me move this out of the way, because I don't need that at the moment. There we go. Grab these, he says. Try not to blind himself because the sun's just at that wrong position where it keeps blinding me. There we go. Now these are quite good because these actually hold things in place, and you can actually put a mirror in there as well, and work on fine stuff. He said, blinding himself yet again in the sun. It's terrible, it really is. It's just at that wrong position at the moment, it really is. Oh, hang on, microphone cable getting caught up as well now. Right, so, first things first, here's our wire. Now, as it's cut where it is, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to chop a piece out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my lovely trusty wire cutters, and I'm going to cut, because you can see there's quite a few bits there that are damaged. So it's going to have to shrink this. So I'm going to cut there. So that's one half cut off. I'm going to stick you down there so you don't disappear. And obviously we're left with this end. So what I'm going to do now is trim that end. Okay, so there we are. Both wires are now trimmed. Obviously it's a good idea to unplug it before doing this, which I did do. Right, now I'm going to get the cable I'm just going to hold that in there. Right, now I've got the wire cut. What I need to do now is work out how big a piece of heat shrink I've got that will go over there. I wonder if that one will shrink enough. So basically that's going to go over and replace the sleeve. So that, what I'm looking at is taking that much of the outer sleeve of the cable off. So it's just basically, they usually do fit in quite well. Move that one out of the way. Take the outer sleeve off. Right, okay, so that's the outer sleeve off there. And it's only got two wires, which is good. I'm going to stick that over there. Okay, so that's my two wires. And then obviously I need some heat shrink to go over these two, as well as, so individually, so that it will actually, so I can solder the wire together. Now what I need to do is, I need to cut off roughly the same amount on this side in order to do it. So, let you in, measure you up. Okay, so hopefully roughly, oh, he says, losing it, these two are roughly the same size. Need a bit more off this one. There we go. So that's our wires now clean. Our heat shrink's on this, and we're going to move it right the way out of the way, because obviously we're going to be applying heat to this, and the last thing we want is for the heat shrink to shrink before it's necessary. Oh, my microphone cable. Go and move over there, you. Right, let me get my soldering gun ready. I have to reach over and get the reason why I'm using the soldering gun is because it's quicker. It's an instant heat soldering gun, so that fact is the minute I pull the trigger, it actually heats up, rather than having to wait, which I would do if I was using a soldering iron. And on work like this, it's a damn sight easier as well, especially when you are trying to do two wires together. And this is quite good actually for helping to do that, because it keeps the wires together as well while you're doing it. Right, so we're going to trim these down now. I'll try and get, now with my wire clippers, I forgot to show you, with my wire clippers, they can actually, they've got a measuring gauge, tab, whatever you want to call it, which allows me to actually set it to a certain length and actually trim the wires to that length. So that's all I'm taking off, is it's basically the same amount each side. Okay. Probably need to take a little bit more off this one. That didn't work very well. Right, so there we have our wires, clean and bare. And obviously twist them up, because the strands, okay, so there's lots of strands in the wire in there. Twist them up like so. Put it back in to the little clamp. And do the same with this one. Twist them up. And twist them up. Okay, and now what we need is some heat shrink, which is going to fit over here. That's too small. So we're looking at maybe this stuff. That looks more like it. Okay, so we need to trim this in half, like so. And what I'm actually going to do is put one that side and one that side, and then do the same with the blue wires. One that side, and one that side. Right, now the easiest way to do this is basically, obviously, it's usually easy to do one wire at a time, and what I tend to do is I tend to twist them like so, like that. Okay, and then what's going to happen is these are going to come in and join there. Okay, so they're going to come in and join there. What I also need is, before I do that, I forgot one more piece. Oops. Twist those round. And it's probably going to be that one actually. Yes, it is. It's going to be that one. Right. I'm going to cut this one into two halves. So there we go. And then I'm going to fit that one over there, like so. And that one is going to go over there, like so. Right. So, now if I actually wasn't using a solder with flux in it, so I'm going to twist the wires back over. So if you wasn't going to use a solder with a flux already in the core, a flux core, then what you'd need to do now is to actually apply some flux and heat it up. Okay, right, now with this, it's just basically, this should be a hot, instant heat, this should. What I'm going to do is, now what I'm going to do now is tin. It's basically tin the soldering iron, that's what I'm doing there. So that's called tinning the soldering iron. So I've put some solder on there, and what you'll find is then it will work even better. And it's just a case of just heating it up and feeding the solder in gently, so it flows nicely over the whole of the wire, like so. Not quite sure if you caught that, but there you go. And that has created a nice joint. Right, so now we need to do the blue. I'm going to try and do this when I keep my hands out of the way so you can see it. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that. So now it's the blue's turn. So join the two together. Let's see if I can do it this way. So, heat on. The mouse great for pulling the solder out. And the soldering iron's already tinned. So what I'm trying to do is heat the wire up until the solder starts running through the wire. There we go. Just like that. There we go. And that's it. The minute the solder runs through the wire, you just stop. Now it's just a case of leaving it for a few minutes to cool down and then get the heat shrinks. So that heat shrink's going to come in from that angle, like so. Get on there. There we go. And that one's going to come in from that angle, like so. And we might have problems with this side. There we go, and there we go. Right, get in there, get in there. Now you've got to be really careful now when you're doing this, because you don't want to shrink everything. Shrink the heat shrink, and then take our other little piece over the top, shrink the heat shrink. There you go, shrink it all. Shrink the heat shrink. Take our little piece here, hopefully over the top. Shrink, shrink, shrink. All nice and shrunk. And then we take our nice little long piece that we stuck on earlier on. Over the top of these two pieces, if we can, into that one. There we go. Oops. So there we are, and then shrink, and shrink, and there we have repaired the wire. Simple as that. And we know it's repaired from there. And it's nicely covered. And that is there, a nice repair. There you go. I hope that was useful for you. I hope you understood what was going on there. And the beautiful thing is now that this is relatively cool and can go straight back away, rather than having to wait for it to cool down like you would do with a soldering iron. With a soldering iron, you'd have to apply the heat for a little bit longer for it to actually work. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications. And I shall catch you in the next video. So cheerio, arrivederci, and goodbye for now.